All the dudes chanting that I can't wrestle, calm down, relax, take a sip of your beer and shut your mouth.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Big men, big egos, lots of testosterone, and everybody wants to make themselves look good. Do I really need to explain this further? Here's 10 times that the pro wrestlers got angry for real. Number 10, Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 34's main event. Bad that. I actually rewatched this main event pitting Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns against each other for the Universal Championship. A Mania rematch with no Seth Rollins to save the day, and wow, was that a waste of my time. This match had to either end in Roman boringly conquering the Beast, or Brock disappointingly toppling his only potential conqueror, and we got served the latter. The match is terrible, with the entire ending revolving around the sequence. F5, kick out, pause for 3 minutes, rinse and repeat, with Roman taking 6 finishers with nothing between them before the bell finally rang. The match was unsurprisingly booed to all hell, which makes Brock backstage reaction seeing Vince McMahon not all that surprising.
I thought we were going to see a new champion right there. Look at the rage on the face, in the eyes of Reigns.
Number 9, The Rock. Once again, Roman Reigns' biggest attractors impact the people around him. Although while Brock Lesnar is in a unique case of semi-part-timer who constantly hears boos and doesn't really give a shit, The Rock is on the exact opposite side of that spectrum. He's completely part-time and being the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, along with legitimately one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's one of the few names you can count on to realistically never hear a hailing of boos come in from the crowd probably ever again. At least I'm sure that's Dwayne assumed heading out to help his cousin Roman Reigns after winning the 2015 Royal Rumble, as Rocky layeth the smack down on Kane and Big Show's candy before raising his family's arms in victory. Except they actually did boo. Not even Dwayne the Tooth Fairy Johnson could stop Philadelphia from booing Roman Reigns out of the arena that night, and Rocky, yeah, he didn't look too happy about it.
Roman Reigns becomes just the 23rd man.
Number 8, Sabu. ECW stands for Extreme Championship Wrestling. That fact alone should answer the question, do you think attacking one of these wrestlers from the stands is a good idea? Yet some people still don't seem to understand. During this specific entrance to the ring, Sabu already appeared pretty pissed off. ECW was always a tad bit low on the funds, so their entranceway was essentially just going through the crowd with like a foot between them and the actual people. And Sabu, he was already getting hit and pelted by fans left and right before almost knocking one fan out. Sabu's iconic headwear is suddenly stolen off the top of his head and the dude just loses it. He immediately hops that railing and whoops on that idiotic fan. Number 7, Gail Kim. While Sabu having his private property swiped off the top of his dome piece is definitely worthy of getting upset over, I'm going to go ahead and say that Gail Kim is so far easily the most justifiably angry person on this list. A highly talented wrestler and likely the worst ever era of women's wrestling, Gail Kim was a solid decade, maybe decade and a half before her time in terms of WWE's handling of female talents. And come 2011, she was so sick of how horribly she would be handled that Kim went into business for herself one night on a battle royal. And after years of being fed up with the company, eliminated herself within the first 10 seconds of the match. I like to think she rolled under the bottom ropes too, just for assholes like me to make the easy, she's still in that battle royal by technicality a decade later joke.
And we've already had an elimination.
Yeah, that was Melina who was eliminated, and another elimination as well, Gail Kim, I think.
Number 7, Paul Heyman. This one doesn't take place inside of the ring, and for that matter, doesn't even take place in any sort of WWE's own programming. It's not backstage, it's not behind the scenes. Rather, this little interview takes place during one of WWE's 2K promotions, where they bring in a bunch of press, move them around a room between different WWE representatives, usually wrestlers or managers. Paul Heyman, naturally, is one such representative and is approached by an interviewer in the making who, this guy, he possesses everything. He's got all the talent, he's got everything he needs to be an interviewer. Just one little problem, he doesn't have a camera. This man walks up to professional Paul Heyman with an iPhone for a camera, starts his interview, and Paul just eviscerates him.
good camera, 4K.
Are you serious?
I mean, it's not a good...
Who let him in?
Number 5, Dean Ambrose. In a very similar vein to Gail Kim, Dean Ambrose was a massively wasted talent who found himself so lost in the WWE shuffle that most guys in his position wouldn't even know their hand anymore. Luckily for the re-Christian Jon Moxley, he never forgot who he was and just how damn good he was, evidently finding himself as the AEW World Champion as I speak. And it must have been this knowledge, this hope for greener grass on the other side once he got out of the WWE that kept him going in the company. But unfortunately, he had to keep going. Contracts must be honored, and he held out until his very last days within the company. But, oh my god, that Seth Rollins feud. Man, wow. WWE really played up Roman Reigns' leukemia by having Dean Ambrose run around being worried about catching the disgusting fans' sickness, and the dude literally got a shot in his live on Monday Night Raw. Wow. This is professional wrestling, I should remind you. He might not look pissed in this next clip, but you can actually see the passion dying before your very eyes inside of his own.
It's the price you pay. Now,
Number 4, Roman Reigns. You have got to feel for Roman, man. The only sin that this guy ever committed was doing what he was told. Everybody and their grandma's dead dog will agree to you that the biggest dog in the Shield was pushed way too far, way too fast, and audiences, they're pretty justified in their anger toward watching a product that was really bad and could have so easily been 1,000 times better. And they're also justified expressing that opinion through the time-honored tradition of boo. However, by mid-2016, Roman Reigns was actually a pretty damn solid performer, and most of these boos by this point were unnecessary. Reigns, he clearly agreed on Ambrose's celebration night after winning the WWE title, as he looked pissed throughout his entire segment and finally shut the crowd up. Booing him is one thing, he could handle that, he's used to that for a year and a half by this point, but taking TV time away from his best friend's celebration of finally winning the WWE Championship, the big dog wasn't down for that.
For all the dudes chanting that I can't wrestle, calm down, relax, take a sip of your beer and shut your mouth.
Number 3, Cesaro. I still to this day don't really know if this is scripted or not, mostly because if it was, WWE never bothered to follow up with it. After being a late pick in WWE's reintroduction of the brand split in 2016, Cesaro was interviewed backstage over his opinions on then Raw authority figures Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley. Cesaro just goes off, man. Anyone who discredits his talking ability needs to see this clip, because while his charisma is a bit niche, it's not the most charismatic charisma, if that makes any sense. It's definitely there as he tears into WWE's consistent need for GMs and commissioners, pining for pro wrestling to just focus on the wrestling before dipping the hell out of there. I don't know where this Cesaro went, but no bullshit, just kick your Cesaro might be the greatest one-day gimmick of all time.
Raw going forward needs to be about the superstars. It needs to be about the performers in the ring and not about how Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley coexist.
Number 2, Randy Orton. When it comes to this slithering snake and his venomous tangents, honestly, you can pick your poison. Orton has probably been the most consistently angry wrestler in WWE's history, which is impressive since the Vipers shed his skin a good few times over the last decade and finally chilled out. But before meeting his wife and mellowing his life, Orton had plenty of temper tantrum fueled spats within the company. A lot of these were backstage, but two of the most noteworthy on-screen instances are likely against Kennedy and Kofi, with the former seeing Mr. Kennedy accidentally botching a suplex on Orton that would legitimately result in Ken Kennedy's firing, and the latter seeing Kofi Kingston botch an RKO where Orton relentlessly shouted "stupid" at Kofi. Why was that an accent? And unsurprisingly, tried desperately to get him fired backstage, both within the same year. Kofi, thankfully, remained in the company, and it managed to actually come back around full circle a decade later with Kofi's WWE title reign. It was a great story, but that great story doesn't change the story's origin, which was far from a pleasant origin.
Feeling it. Goes for the RKO. Connects. Kofi Kingston jaw and face planted in the center of the ring.
And number 1, Vince McMahon. God, the 2005 Royal Rumble's ending is great. It's just a good time. Not only did two competitors manage to eliminate themselves at the exact same moment, but two quads also managed to tear themselves at the same time too. After all 4 feet between John Cena and Dave Bautista somehow hit the floor at the exact same moment, I still don't know how they managed to do that. Confusion erupts in the ring as no one knows who won the match, so Vince McMahon rushes down to the ramp, legit furious at the finish. As he tries to get up and explain what'll happen though, as he gets into the ring, he tears both of his quadriceps and resorts to shouting angrily from the floor like an upset toddler. It's great.
He does not look happy, and that's not a shocker.
And those are 10 times that wrestlers got angry for real. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. After liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and notifications, ring that bell.